Hey, GLP-1 plus sides community. Before we jump into the podcast, please take the time to leave us a 5-star review on whatever audio platform you're listening to the podcast on. Share your story and how the podcast has helped you. This will help us get referred up in the audio platform so that we can reach more people that need our help, our support, and guidance from our doctors. Help us get loud and change things.
Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together, because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.
Hey everyone, before we dive in, I really want to share something personal with you. About, I want to say like 8 to 10 months ago, after losing 100 pounds on GLP-1s and keeping it off for a long time, I started regaining out of nowhere, and I was terrified. But I also started having hot flashes and bouts of crying and snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. unable to go back to sleep. It turns out I was in perimenopause. So I started hormone replacement therapy, which is also called HRT, through a telehealth called Winona that specializes in this. And it changed everything. And now I'm sleeping better and my hot flashes are all but gone, thank God. And I feel like myself again. And it turns out that you can actually start perimenopause as early as 35. And well, I'm 46 and she's here. HRT has really come a long way and there's just no need to suffer anymore. So if you're like this and you're in the same boat, you can check out buywinona.com and you can use the link in our link tree to save some money.
Want the fastest working GLP-1? For half the price, Ro now offers FDA-approved weight loss injections cheaper. With results you can see faster. Lose 15% of your weight with the formula from Eli Lilly that hits not one, but 2 hormones to curb hunger and nausea. Weight loss faster. Confidence higher. Price cheaper. See if you qualify at ro.co/TV.
Welcome to the Plus Sides Podcast. Hey, everyone. Hey, Kat.
What's up, Kim?
How you doing?
I didn't realize until now that we both have the same initials. So when we do work, I get confused. I'm like, Casey, that's me. No, it's Kim's duty. Anyway, it's random.
It only took us 14 years to figure that out. Hi, friends. If you are new here, we're going to give you our intros of who Kat and I are and what we do here on this podcast. If you are not new here, this is your cue to fast forward. My name is Kim Carlos. I am an obesity care and health advocate for those who struggle with metabolic disorders. This is an educational health and wellness podcast where we interview experts about the disease of obesity, type 2 diabetes, etc., and all things that really encompass what it's like to live with a, frankly, chronic disease, because you want to kind of be the healthiest you can be. And that includes a lot of different things, right? On this journey, it's not just about taking a medicine, having it solving every problem you've ever had, right? Because it doesn't. And 2.5 years in, Kat and I know that. Wasn't ever about weight loss at all. It really was about our full health. And so Kat and I are on that journey together. Our body is not static. It continues to ebb and flow sometimes with weight, like everybody else's. I've been on a GLP-1 for 2.5 years. I've lost 110 pounds. I still live in a big body. I was in a size 26, 28 when I started. I'm in a size 14 now, but my blood work looks great. And now I'm going through perimenopause, and that sucks. But we're learning together. It's okay. Because good news, there's lots of things that we can do now to be able to help that. And it's an important
Mhm.
conversation. And we
Yep.
are also talking about that here. So that is a little bit about me. Kat, I would love to know a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Kat Carter. Cat Carter 7 on TikTok. I have lost 70 pounds using a GLP-1, and I've been on the GLP-1 life almost about, yeah, 2.5 years like you, except I started a little bit later.
Mhm.
But I did lose 70 pounds. I am still in a large body. I call myself a plus size fitty because I love to sweat. I will say there is no amount of sweat, no amount of boot camp and spinning classes that you can take can chase away insulin resistance. And that's what I struggled with my entire life until we found Mounjaro. And
Huzzah.
yeah,
And I've tried all of them. I think
yeah,
they're all great. Like, mostly because of shortage and insurance and all the things. But
yep.
I've
Hmm.
taken the type 2 versions, which are the same. And I've taken the obesity versions. And if anything, I just think they're all an incredible tool to help you get to the best and healthiest that you
Yep.
can be.
And
Okay.
if you don't work on the program or on the GLP-1, it doesn't work. So you got to do the
Yeah.
work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It only works for so long before you got to
Hmm.
make some changes. So, yeah, now I'm not about like you have to diet and exercise. I refuse because I'm against diet culture. So I say you have to move your body, right? In whatever way works for you, preferably strength training, cardio is great. And you definitely have to make sure that because you are eating less, you are primarily eating things that have good nutritional value. That being
Hmm.
said, I will eat a meatball sandwich once a month if I want to.
That's protein.
Hallelujah. It's happening. So today we have a special episode. We are going to be talking with some people from GNC. GNC recently has been focusing on thinking, hey, like we should consider the fact that a lot of these people have side effects, right? And we have a lot of things here that can help them. And I think everybody here
Absolutely.
always knows I have this, I have that. We hear it on TikTok all the time. What do I take? What do I do? So we thought it was a really important conversation to have, whether it's you're taking it to help with side effects or you're taking it because you're on your therapy and you're trying to get healthier a little bit more. There's always
Hmm.
lots of different things that I think we can discuss to possibly pair with our other scientifically backed things. And so that is what today's episode is all about. We are so glad to have you. Let's
Sweet.
invite in our guest.
Woohoo.
Hello, Michael. Hello, Rachel.
Hello. Hello, Kim and Kat. How you guys
We're
doing?
Good
so
Monday
glad to
morning
have you. Hello.
on a
Um,
Monday.
so to get started, and this is going to be very hopefully a conversational and roundtable, but we're here to learn about how you can help our community about the Plus Sides podcast. We are an award-winning podcast, and we've gotten awards for social impact, and we are trying to kind of break the stigma and fight the stigma around people who struggle with these diseases and help people understand that it's a disease, and that there are other things that you can do to help you along this journey, And so we're very excited to have you here. I would love if you could kind of do some intros. Maybe we can start with Michael, who you are. We always say our key thing is tell us about who you are and how you help people, right?
Yeah.
So if we could start there, that would be great.
So, name is Michael Costello, CEO of GNC. Been there since November 23. As I tell people, I was a customer of GNC in the 90s. I sold brands. Yep. And I loved it. Right. It was a place where I went to go get my creatine when I was doing a lot of lifting when I was in my 20s. Now, in the 10s, I was selling products to GNC, some of the core top brands in the United States that were vitamins. And for me, I came to GNC in 2023 because it's such an iconic company that has helped people for 90 years. His 90th birthday this year.
90 years. Oh my gosh.
Starting with products we all know and love like yogurt, right? Back in 1935, which was in 1935, that was something new and unique.
Wow.
And GNC continues to lead with new and unique, both ways to help people think about their health as well as the most recent and vetted ingredients.
Fantastic. I love it. And Rachel, tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, guys. So glad to be here. And I absolutely love your message and what you guys are promoting because I'm a registered dietitian, and that's how I ended up working for GNC in the first place. Today, I'm the Vice President of Innovation and Science here at GNC. And so I lovingly refer to my team as the nerd team. So we spend a ton of time reading scientific literature on ingredients, health protocols, medications, everything that people are using to get healthy. And we're trying to come up with, how can we as GNC help our customers better with this information?
Mhm.
Sometimes that's through, creating a new product, a new brand, or sometimes it's through educating our coaches in our stores or publishing articles onto our Live Well blog. So I lead a team of people here who are dietitians, exercise physiologists, running the gambit in different areas of health. And we formulate the products. We do the packaging for the products. We write the articles about the products. We help our training team to make sure that we're getting the best and most accurate information out there to our coaches. So it's a really fun job, and I truly learn something every single day at work. Actually, I learn a lot of things every single day. And so I really love my job, and it's been really cool since the GLP-1 craze has started, because it's just given a new opportunity to help people. And I think these medications are amazing, and they are changing people's lives for the better. So
for sure. I mean, that's fantastic. For sure, Kat and I, we talk a lot about sort of the food noise and kind of never really being able to break the cycle and the constant regain. And, we interview obesity specialists and endocrinologists and bariatric surgeons on our show, and dietitians and movement coaches and everything, because we really want people to understand that there are certain parts of this you cannot control. And there's no shame in accepting medical intervention, right, to be able to get where you want to be. Because most people that we have met that have obesity are the most boss people there is. There's no such thing as fat and lazy. Most people who struggle with this disease just struggle because it's a disease. And once you treat it, they're off, Yeah. So that's why we've been so excited about it. And for sure, when the food noise turned out for me, after being on this my whole life, I was like, I have to know everything.
Right.
And then I was like, I have to tell everyone.
And Kim, that was inspiration for us, because when we saw the GLP-1s first come out, right, GNC is always focused on trying to help people, because we help, we don't really help people in their normally lifelong journey for health and wellness, right?
Yeah.
And we saw the GLP-1s come out, which is a crazy invention in terms of the ability to impact people's lives. But so many people were getting off GLP-1s because they couldn't stand side effects.
Yeah.
Right. And you hear some of the stories out there, and it just gets really, it's kind of gut wrenching when you hear somebody talk about how they were losing so much weight, they were getting on the lifelong journey they wanted, and they just couldn't keep up because of some GI issues or something else, or maybe even some muscle fatigue. And we looked at our store and we said, everything in our store helps this. We look at all the side effects, and you look at our store, it's almost as if it was invented for each other. And we know that not a lot of GLP-1 users at the time were coming to our stores, right? Because we do have the reputation of folks for people who are already big gung-ho, already into weightlifting, and here's who GNC is. That's actually not the case. About 40% of our customers are women, 60% are men. And even on the men's side, there's a lot of folks who are like myself, who, kind of on the older side now. Now I'm just trying to keep my aging as good as possible, and I'm trying to keep my weight right at the right location, right? So that's an ongoing daily fight for me. That's like a lot of our customers. So yes, we have customers in there who are winning Mr. Olympias and doing different things, but we also have folks who are just moving, as you said.
Yeah.
Which I love that, because just getting out, taking a little bit of a walk, getting your steps up, all those things are ways of how we incorporate health and wellness in our life.
Absolutely. So true. Yes.
So
So for the both of you, how do your unique backgrounds, Rachel as a registered dietitian, and Michael as CEO, how does that shape your approach to healthful supplements and products for GNC?
Quick pause here. I've had moments on my GLP-1 journey where insurance changes or rising costs force me to look for a new provider. And honestly, that process can feel very overwhelming. But that's why the Plus Size Podcast is partnered with GLP Winner to give our subscribers a resource to help them make that decision easier. GLP Winner is a comparison platform that lets you explore telehealth providers in all 50 states, whether you're looking for brand name medications or compounded options. You can see pricing up front, read reviews, and get a clear picture of which provider might align best with your needs. Check it out today at glpwinner.com/plus-sides. That's glpwinner.com/plus-sides. Don't forget the Z. Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications, and I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m., and I had hot flashes, and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause, and I started HRT, and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, geez, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through this same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need.
"20 seconds a week to lose 20% of your weight in a year with diet and exercise." That's the power of GLP-1s through Ro. Ro helps find the medication that's right for you, based on cost, availability, and your weight loss goals. Losing weight with GLP-1s is possible through Ro.
So, I would actually say it this way, is that my background comes in a few different pieces. One is, chemical engineer trained, so I have a scientific background. I spent a lot of my time with really creating brands around the world. And the idea about a brand, the best brands are ones that understand people's needs without them understanding what their needs are and help solve them in a way, right? And then in the VMS space, the vitamin mineral space, on a personal journey, I've been into it for so long. As I said, when I got here, I was already taking about 20 supplements as it was in a day.
Wow.
So yes, I've had because I love all the science behind it. I've read all the science that comes from the scientific background. I read all the science on it. I love all the stuff. When the more you read on it, you go, wow, this helps, this helps, this helps.
True.
But the key word there is always time helps, right? Like you can't walk in our store. We're not drugs. You don't get a magic win from us. What you get is helping on your day-to-day challenges that happen, right?
Yeah.
But it's because you're not getting enough protein. Maybe you're not getting enough vitamins. If you're on GLP-1, maybe you're coming off GLP-1s and you're trying to figure out what else could help support you. And we have lots of products here that actually help with, just kind of maintain satiety, the feeling of satiety at times. So we try and approach, weight loss or weight management as multiple faceted, and everybody has different needs.
Yeah, I love that. I would say, we have plenty of some people in the space who have kind of created, this is a GLP-1 supplement, like a supplement for what you're doing. But there's actually that's sort of a one size fits all approach, right? To maybe you don't have diarrhea, maybe you don't have nausea, maybe you're getting plenty of protein, right? Everybody's body is different, which is really why this prescription of eat less, move more for everybody's body doesn't work, right? Because the body is very complex,
It's very complex.
It's very complex.
The wonderful thing about the human body and the challenging thing about the human body, right?
Yes, so true.
and even so we talk about this even before we got the GLP-1s. So if you come in and you say, hey, I'm having a problem sleeping, what would most people say?
Yeah.
Melatonin.
Yep.
Right. That works for some people some of the time. You probably shouldn't be using it every day. What about valerian root? What about magnesium? There's other ways that our coaches already know about that you may not have been exposed to, because melatonin has the best marketing out of all the ingredients, right? But valerian root, I use it. It's wonderful. Magnesium helps you kind of get relaxed if that's your issue. So there's not a single solution for the world. That's why understanding the different options are definitely one of the things that we can help with.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really good. I saw an interview that you did. Gosh, I want to say it was on Yahoo Finance, where you were specifically talking about like how you're kind of, because the way things have worked, there's so much is virtual, right? Like it's whether it's going on Amazon or going to Walmart. I had someone make a video and I stitched it on TikTok where she was like, I'm just starting on Mounjaro and someone said get a multivitamin. And I went to Walmart and there's like a million different options and I don't know what to get. What should I get, guys? And I think that sort of has created like this sort of gap in knowledge and coaching in this area. And this is for doctors as well. And this is what's created like the creator economy where people are going to our TikTok and going to lives and asking the community because a lot of doctors don't even really know, So I'm just curious in general, like, is that something that you guys have noticed?
So, yes. I mean, love the medical profession, right? There's some fantastic wins that have come out of the medical profession.
For sure.
As we all know with doctors these days, they have less and less time to spend with patients.
Less and less.
And so this kind of holistic view of a consumer or of a patient saying, hey, what else hey, they're going to have side effects. What else could they help? What else could we do? How do I help them with some of their thinking about how they could move, right? Maybe come along with one of our walks that we do sometimes at the different stores. So that kind of more holistic view, we have time to talk through that. The doctors, a lot of times they don't have enough training in it because if they're older, vitamins, minerals, and supplements weren't really as scientifically vetted back a few years ago. And then secondarily is, if they got 10 minutes with you, they got to deal with the real major medical issues, right? You want them to focus on that. They're an expert there.
Right, absolutely.
The nutritional issues, I think there's a lot of folks like ourselves who can help you there.
Yeah, I think so. And I would also say too, many people don't have access to a dietitian or a nutritionalist. Many don't, so having somewhere where they can go, I think is important. And a lot of times people do that within the community, right? But I think at least for the podcast, we take great care to ensure that people that we partner with, right? And people that we say, we feel good about this, that they're doing things in the way that we think is responsible. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we'd love to talk a little bit more about like what you guys are doing in this like realm. So I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but go ahead, Kat.
Oh, no, I wanted to, I want to go back to Rachel. I wanted to pick your brain as for the same question about like your approach. Using your background, how does your background affect or kind of bleed into the selecting supplements and products?
So one of the first things that we did when we started to, recognize that this is a big deal that we as GNC needed to be thinking about was, of course, go to the scientific literature. Like what has been published and what are the nutrient shortfalls that are going to be happening with folks that are using GLP-1s. And one of the first things we noticed was there's very little research that's actually looking at the nutritional impact of the medications. We know that people are losing lots of weight. Some of the research doesn't even look at the impact to their body composition. Which I found kind of surprising because I think it's so important to make sure that we're really counseling people on making sure you're maintaining your lean mass, your lean muscle. And part of that, of course, is strength training and getting enough protein. And, the fact that very little research has been published on that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. And we really need to look into this. And so we actually did an IRB approved study so we used a really cool approach that one of the PhD scientists on my team came up with working with one of our consumer research panels. And we were able to identify around 100 people who were taking GLP-1 medications. And then we did a big survey asking them all sorts of questions about, what are you eating? So we did a 3-day food record, which is sort of like a standard way of assessing people's nutrient intake. We also asked them about what type of nutritional counseling they received whenever they started taking their medication, asked them about, how is the medication making them feel? Are they having any side effects, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And we're in the process of getting that published. But a few of the things that I found pretty surprising were that a lot of folks said they didn't get any supplement or nutrition recommendations from their doctor at all. They just their medication and that's that. And I thought, oh man, I mean, like I said, I think that these medications are incredible and are going to change the world for the better to help people to be healthier. But gosh, people are going to need some more guidance on, what to eat, how to eat, what are some just little tweaks that you can make to support you on the journey so that you have the best possible health outcome. And so that's been a huge unlock for us, and something that we're really passionate about trying to get answers for people. And another thing that I thought was really interesting is there's not a lot of protocols out there that a doctor can use. If there could be simple printouts that are provided when you're getting a medication about, quick nutrition tips, things that you can do. And none of that existed yet. And so these are some things that I think, just honestly a cry for the entire industry and for the pharma industry too. Like this is information people really need. And we need to provide it to help people to be the healthiest they can. So
I think great opportunity right there.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And when that is published, please let us know so we can put it in our show notes and make content about it, because we really try to bring as many resources and education. We want people to be able to advocate for what they need. And I will tell you, as someone who started these medicines 2.5 years ago, there was nothing. It was just us. It was just us creators going, hey, are you noticing this? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, and then we started out with just kind of accountability, right? We were doing like shot day videos and weigh-in day videos. And then we were having all these like miraculous changes to our body. And also the side effects, and talking about that too. And like, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? And I think that if you go to like if you are so lucky, right, and so privileged to be able to go to an obesity specialist, an endocrinologist, a bariatric surgeon, and your insurance pays for the medicine, all of that, which we already know is
extremely blessed
right now, right? Yeah. Then maybe they've given you this guidance. But most PCPs, they have 5 to 15 minutes, if you're lucky, to spend with you, right? And of course, they're not looking at the newest science for obesity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that we're changing. I think that they're hopefully like evolving and stuff. But I'm glad that there are more resources and more data sources for people. Like our audience definitely are people who really want to understand. Like, they're not just in it for the weight loss. They're in it to understand their body and to have, because like most people aren't going to dig in at this level unless they're like, nah, I'm going to solve this. Right. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to know that you guys are doing that. In terms of like,
and Kim, that's one of the things we're trying to really help folks, not just in this category, but in other categories, really lay out the science for them so that they can make a choice, right? Mm-hmm. Because, we can't make a choice for you in terms of what's your best protein,
right?
Are you doing strength training? Are you not? Are you eating it at night? Different times. We have different proteins for those kind of different needs. And maybe you still need like a lean protein, which we also have. So those are, if you come into the store, the whole point is we're trying to ask lifestyle questions about and objectives. What do you want? Because while that doctor would love to have that doctor take time, there's a lot of lifestyle questions I have to go through. There's not a single answer, right? The doctor can't say, Kim, you should take this, Kat, you should take that. They have to understand a lot of what you are. So it's great when people take control of their own health.
Absolutely.
But then we're GNCs, like we see ourselves as your helper, right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And just like, how great would it be if that girl who mentioned, I went to Walmart and I see 8 billion, things. I don't know what's good and what's not good. And I don't know what I need. And, so I think like being able to go into a store.
Because I'm right away, as soon as you're talking about that, I'm like, she should be taking our mega, our women's VitaPack Energy.
Yep.
Right.
What's
that?
I'm intrigued. I've been watching those. People have been using them on TikTok.
Yeah.
The VitaPack. Yeah. I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So I go right there because I'm like, because a lot of times with low calorie restriction, you're losing a little bit of energy, right? You have some multivitamins. So that's probably one I'd go to right away. And I'm like, like as you have the conversation, I want to go get the box and share it.
I know, right?
well, because the letters we get at times, right? People like come back and they go, "Wow, like I didn't know." Right now, I feel like in that case, I feel like I have better energy. I have more multivitamins. I feel better. We also have studies out there which show like everybody should take a multivitamin, because do you know that like there's always been the studies on multivitamins that say, do they help you live longer? Mm-hmm. And the reality is they don't, because we're all going to die of what we're going to die of, unfortunately, right at the time.
Right. Yeah.
But what multivitamins have shown is they increase your health span, which is the time period with which you can actually actively do the things you want. And all of us, right? I hope at some point to see grandkids. All right, and hope you have the energy to play around with them at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So we all have something we're trying to live for, or it's even bigger than ourselves.
Yeah.
Like getting these products out and helping people is one of the wonderful things about it.
Yeah, absolutely love it. In terms of helping people stay on therapy longer, I thought that was really interesting, and for two different reasons. One, many people in our community have type 2 diabetes and obesity. And also there are people that have type 2 diabetes that don't have obesity. And then there's people that do have obesity and they're thinking more like, I want to lose weight to improve my health, right?
And hopefully not get type 2 diabetes.
Right, hopefully not. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I think like with those different people, especially those who maybe are already there, like I feel like one of the strongest statements we ever had an obesity specialist on our show say is that like companies or doctors or everyone would take insulin resistance more serious if we would talk about the fact that type 2 diabetes is what it is, which is organ failure, right? At that point, people need a certain level of intervention and it is considered chronic, like a chronic disease. Mm-hmm. And so we obviously don't want people to get there, or when people are there, we want them to stay on their therapy, right? So I think like, I'd love to know a little bit more about kind of how you were thinking about that, because it's not just people trying to lose weight, right? It's also people on these therapies to treat diabetes, or maybe to treat other things in the future, like sleep apnea, all these other things they're getting approved for.
Yeah. So we're very careful because of FDA regulations. We can't mm-hmm. talk about treating any diseases, right? And there's a reason for that, which is the fact that there's drugs that are all set up for treating a lot of those diseases, right? And that's and I'd recommend if you have a serious chronic disease, you go talk to your doctor first, right?
Absolutely.
Make that your first visit. Make us the second visit.
Yes.
And so. Yeah, where are we is that, we saw a lot of side effects from other research. So we read all the research, as Rachel mm-hmm. talks about, like her whole team was reading it, saw the side effects were out there, and saw a lot of people talking about not staying on it because of side effects.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you walk into our store in our GLP-1 wall, we list out all the major side effects that we've seen from research mm-hmm. and then put it next to the products that we think can help you.
Yeah.
All right. So then you can come in and talk to our coaches who we shut down the stores for 2 hours. We had trained everybody about the GLP-1, what was on there, what the reasons for it were, taught them also empathy, saying, when somebody comes in the store, realize this is somebody who's had a lifelong battle a lot of times. They're on GLP-1. Think about it as your mother, think about it as your father, think about it as your, your aunt. Find someone in your family who's had those same struggles. We all know somebody. And think about that as the person that you're helping who comes to the door, because we know we can sometimes come off a little bit like, hey, everybody at GNC is all in shape and all ready, which we're not.
Yeah.
All right. We all have that journey. We're on the same health journey, but a lot of us are in the same spot where, I'm trying to lose my next 15 pounds and trying to get a little more energy and trying to, sleep a little bit better. Those are common goals for all of us.
Yes.
And our point was, we know what side effects are. We know we have products that help them. Let's make sure we were very clear with folks. And so to make it easier to come shop us.
Yeah. I think true. Like something else we've noticed, and because everybody kind of responds to these a little different, right? There are certain kind of buckets, right? Where we see like trends, right? But like I have some friends that have been on the top level dose of these medications and still not quite got the suppression that they want. So maybe, for example, adding additional protein supplement could help them feel that way or something like that, right? So I think when having someone to talk to, that's a big deal. And I'm really glad that you did that that was one of the coolest things I heard in one of your interviews recently, is saying that you really took the time for the coaches to understand, because I will tell you, there is a tremendous amount of bias around people who are of a certain size. I would tell you before this, the size that I was at, I probably would have never walked into a GNC store.
You probably wouldn't have. And we're trying to change that, right? Because we know that when somebody walks, that's when we talk to our coaches. Mm-hmm. When somebody who walks across the threshold of a GNC for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. For the first time, they've typically already made a decision that they're going to make some health change and they're looking for help. And the reality is, what you don't know is a lot of our coaches have very similar stories. So you'll walk into our stores and you'll see folks who look like really, really good in shape. and they'll talk to me about how they were 50 pounds overweight in high school and weren't confident, and finally had walked into a GNC and got the right products and the right stuff and started working out. And now they have all this confidence. So we do typically attract a lot of people who are towards the end of their journey. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have very similar journeys in terms of either a health scare or something else that really motivated them to be in the space where, they get the emotional reward for helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Okay, let's build on this. Walking into the store, what standards and methodologies does GNC use to ensure the quality and safety of the supplements that you are offering? And could you talk us through that product vetting process?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So the journey, a lot of times with a product starts with, there's so many amazing brands out there. And within the GLP-1 support space, I think we've seen tons of brands popping up. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of times they approach our merchant team. We have a team of expert merchants that have been in this space for 20 plus years, some of them, and they see tons and tons of products across their desks. So they're looking at it. Does this fill a unique need for our customer, right? And tasting it and trying the product. Do they like the way that it tastes? Do they like the way that it makes them feel, so on and so forth? Mm. And from there, once they think, okay, we like this, we're seeing something here, it gets passed off to my team. And we have a whole process. We have a giant list of over 150 products that we screen everything that we bring in to make sure it doesn't contain that ingredient. And, that's one thing that's sort of like if it contains said ingredient, it gets rejected. We do work with a lot of brands to say, hey, we don't sell this ingredient for some reason or another. A lot of times it's because we have a toxicology opinion or something on file that made us think, we don't think we want to sell this at GNC. And sometimes they'll reformulate because they really want to be on our shelves, and we work with them through that process if that's the case. So once it checks that box and we know that it doesn't contain any of our no ingredients, we have around 150 that are just, not allowed at all. We are also looking at their warnings. Do you have, if you've got like a hefty dose of caffeine or something like that, we a lot of times would suggest that somebody build their dose of caffeine instead of going right in with a really high amount of caffeine. So we work with them on those sort of things too. Again, just making sure that we're feeling really great about the product, the ingredients, any warnings, the directions for use, so forth. And then we are also looking at their manufacturing, making sure that they are working with a manufacturer that follows good manufacturing practices, and making sure they have all of those certificates on file. And then we would approve to sell a third party product. So this is like a super gut or a third party brand that we carry. And then of course we do have our own brand, which is my team spends a tremendous amount of their time on our own brand products. Mm-hmm. And for those, there's even more due diligence that's going behind those products and brands, because we are vetting all of the science. And we build out humongous dossiers for every product that we carry of the literature that we're using to support that product. Like, why did we use 6 grams of fiber of this specific brand, in our product? And there's always a reason. And so we build out a humongous dossier to make sure that we feel great about it and that our directions for use are really clear. And so the customer is going to get the best effect from the product. And, we are vetting this list every single day. We have a librarian who has, if you guys have ever been on PubMed, she has everything you can imagine hitting her email all day, everything that's being published, to make sure if there's something that's coming out about an ingredient that we should know about, she's on top of it and letting us know, hey, we should probably add this to our no list. Or maybe we want to send this out to the toxicologist. So it's something that we spend a lot of time on, and really making sure that we're on top of whatever's happening in the industry, whatever's happening in the scientific literature too.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. That sounds like definitely we're not going to be growing any, like, say, feathers or anything out of the ears or any sort of like weird new like pseudo sort of science thing.
But that's really important because the reality is there's a brand out there called Now Foods who does
What's it called? We can hear you.
Now Foods, Now Supplements. Right?
Okay.
And you can look it up. They do a lot of research where they go online and buy products that are good deals a lot of times, but really, they find a lot of them don't meet label claim, or they have the other products in them. So, there's a lot of good brands out there, not only GNC, right? And all the brands that we carry at GNC have already been vetted, as Rachel talks about. And there's a lot of other good companies out there that brands that are available in other places. But I would always say definitely go with a good brand here because there's lots of stuff out there that looks good, looks close, but is a fly-by-night company selling online.
Yes.
And you may you think you're spending all your money and getting all the results, but you're not getting it because the products don't really have what they claim are in there.
It's like sometimes.
So it's like Rachel said, we want to make sure things aren't in them.
Yeah.
Right? We also want to make sure things are in them. Right? It's that balance.
That makes me think of sometimes when people like say on TikTok, people or just any other social platforms, or people saying, or some of these companies are saying like, this is like Ozempic in a pill, but no.
Right. Well, that's a great point, right? Because that's a scientific fallacy. There are things that can help your body with GLP-1s that we know about, and we sell some of them. But they're there's no such thing as nature's Ozempic, right?
Yes.
Ozempic is Ozempic, and it's a drug that is designed to be, multiple times more effective than the products that you can get naturally. And I would never discourage somebody who's on Ozempic or a GLP-1 drug, for my doctor to switch off. You should stay with what the doctor's given you. I will tell you, it definitely helps. Some of these products definitely helps other folks like myself. We're trying to lose that last 10 pounds, which is a little different spot, right?
Yeah.
And, and I'm trying to move at a lot slower pace because it's all about health for me too. Yeah. It's a different need state. So those things have helped me. We sell some of them and I've used them. I've actually lost almost 12 pounds on it. Which I'm super excited about. Right? Was that?
You got to tell us about that one.
Well, but it's been 12 pounds over a year.
Yeah, that's
right? And it's our glucotrim product we launched. It actually helps me because my problem, like we all have problems with food in some ways, right? My problems are after 10 o'clock at night. So I eat healthy all day. Good lunch, good breakfast, good dinner, eating everything healthy, had a good snack. And 10 o'clock at night, the chips and salsas come out. and for some reason, the whole bag disappears. I can't tell you why, right? The bags must be smaller these days because they just seem to disappear. Whereas when I take glucotrim right after dinner, it actually helps me mitigate my kind of craving for food. Helps kind of really maintain that blood sugar in a way that's positive. And I don't get the cravings, right?
That's awesome.
So all
I was about to say when you said that is, have you checked your blood sugar?
Actually, I do. I actually use Dexcon.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Me too.
More for fun, more for me to track it track my blood sugar. So I don't have diabetes. I'm not pre-diabetic. Yeah. But I track it to watch for spikes.
Yeah. I actually think that's great because that's real data, right? Like you can make decisions about how your body's processing things I think everybody should have a Dexcon.
I've changed what I eat first in a meal. I change how I eat meals, right? Yeah. And it's all designed to have one more piece of information that helps you think about, managing your body. Yeah. Because again, there's things I've discovered as I've gone through it with the Dexcon that I'm like, I didn't know that spiked me. Right? It's obvious for the sugars and juices and things, right? But once you get beyond that, some of foods are pretty surprising that they spike that high.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's interesting. I know eating past 10 o'clock is definitely my weakness. But, we found out in one of our interviews that it's called nighttime eating disorder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a nighttime eating syndrome, I think.
Yeah. So it's a real thing. So you're not alone.
Well, what I also find interesting, right, and this is all about, is yes, that happens to me, except when after I break it for a few days, I stop losing the habit.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like our bodies get used to things and they They're telling you, hey, I want this, right?
I need my chips and salsa.
Yeah, my chips and salsa, and it tastes good.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
fiber in your salsa, right? Fiber,
Yeah.
nutrients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I said is that, like I said, a lot of us, have different needs within weight management, have different needs within these categories.
Mm-hmm.
One of the beautiful things, what we're happy about, is because we took the position, right, in a category that was mostly down across the country in terms of weight management, we were up. And we didn't start with that as a goal. We started with the goal is how we can help folks, because there's this emerging need. But the benefit that's brought is that folks are looking at us not just as the fast, problem solution weight drugs that are out there that are typically high caffeine or high thermogenic. They're looking at, I can come to GNC and get any one of my solutions, whether I'm on GLP-1 coming off or whether I'm just, a little bit overweight and want to shed that last 15, 20 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. I know Kat wanted to know about the women's vitamins, right?
The women's vitamins, yes. the women's 30 or the Mega Men packs. I didn't want to talk about that, but also we talk a lot about, let's just talk about constipation. Let's just call it constipation. I was trying to look for something else that was cute to say, but just, forget it.
Listen, it is what it is.
A lot of people talk about that in our community. I know you have a whole line of GLP-1 support products, but let's talk about a few of them. Maybe the ones for constipation or maybe lethargy, and also the women's 30 and the Mega Men packs.
Yeah. So I'll let Rachel start on the women's 30 and the Mega Men packs, and then I'll come off at the end with constipation because there's one there that I think is actually really
I like it.
Oh, great.
Cool. Okay. I think that certainly for keeping your energy levels up, we know that you have to make sure you're getting enough nutrients, those B vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, and whenever your food consumption is gone down so much. I actually have a friend, when she started her GLP-1, her appetite was 0. And, you've got to be getting in some nutrients, right? So that's where having a multivitamin, a VitaPack can be really great. And we have seen a lot of interest in the 30 plus VitaPacks that we have, which are really cool. And the thing that I like about them is, they're nice small pills, easy to take. So that's a really great benefit. You're getting your fish oil. Another thing that most people are like, how many of us are eating salmon like 2 or 3 times a week? Like not very many people.
Once a week for sure.
Yeah. I do try to eat a lot of salmon, but I think the majority of people in America are definitely
for sure.
And so, having an omega-3 supplement is always a good idea. Yeah. So the 30 plus VitaPacks are really killer, and they're really cool packaging, and I love those. We're really, really excited about those. And then as for constipation, I don't want to steal Michael's thunder, but we do have a lot of
word.
I was like, no pun intended, but it totally.
And when you're a dietitian, you'll talk about anything. I mean, whenever you're working in a hospital, you have, the Bristol stool chart, and you're like looking at poop and like, what does it look like? And as a dietitian, but and sometimes at work, I have to like check myself because, we're used to talking about a lot of crazy things in the science world. And then when you're talking to like the marketing team, they're like, huh? But anyway, we have a ton of awesome fiber supplements. And I actually have a button that says I heart fiber on it because nobody eats enough fiber. Nobody's getting, even whenever you're not taking a GLP-1, let alone when your food intake is so low. So getting a fiber supplement into your routine is like something that I think pretty much everybody could benefit from. And we've got a lot of really, really good ones that are like no taste. The super gut fibers are really nice in those little stick packs. And you can add them to anything, and they taste really good. And we've got something new that's coming out pretty soon too. That's a fiber-based supplement that's really easy to sip on and drink, just to pump up that fiber to prevent that constipation, because that is a terrible feeling.
It's no fun. Yeah.
So building on Rachel's view, which is, and I agree, fiber is definitely it. In fact, there's some folks out there saying fiber is a new protein.
Yeah.
Meaning, because now folks are like, everybody's like, yeah, you should take more protein. Everybody talks about more protein, more protein. That's kind of gotten a lexicon. Fiber is not yet there yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're all measuring our grams of fiber next year and how many we got in. And because today we can talk like, hey, I got 100 grams of protein today. You did, that's it's not unusual to know people know their protein number. Fiber is definitely there. The other kind of one I will tell you that I also use is magnesium citrate, which we have. So the one beautiful thing about magnesiums, as I talk about GNC, there's magnesium. People talk about glycinate. That's really good. That is, we love it, right? It has high absorption with low GI issues. Magnesium citrate has high bioavailability and high absorption. It also has a slight downside that it makes you go to the bathroom more. Right now, you can take that downside and make it an upside. So if you're coming in and saying, "Hey, I don't get enough," I'm highly constipated. Our coaches can tell you about magnesium citrate, which gets you magnesium because 70% of us are light on magnesium. Plus, makes you more regular. Right now, there's a win-win. Now we don't talk about constipation relief on our products because those are again regulated, but these are things we know and we can share as you come to our store and talk to us.
Yeah. So you can say, I had people come in before that take a GLP-1 and they really like this fiber supplement because it can help you be more regular in general. Because as opposed to this, thing actually causes you to poop more, right? Like, it's different.
Yeah. Right? It's about talking about your normal body and what goes on and what things that sometimes help some people. Which is
now that I think about it, because I had the actual opposite effect. Was it last year or 2 years ago when I was? My side effects just went in ebbs and flows. I didn't really have a lot, but the ones I did.
Well, lucky for you.
The opposite, but the opposite. I had to start taking. Is it Imodium? To slow things down for a little while, but then it just does GNC offer that too, or would it just be more fiber? Right.
Well, I think one of the interesting things about fiber that can be helpful is they're not all going to work sort of like a laxative, I mean, I'm a big fan also of even senna as a natural, it's a tea, but which can work as a laxative, but fiber actually just really helps to regulate, right? So it's not necessarily going to make you go, and it can actually, essentially, they say it's adding bulk to stool, which I know is kind of icky to talk about, but
I'm not here.
Not here.
Talk about it all here.
Fiber in your diet, whether through a supplement or from your food, really can help to just regulate you. And that's why, like, when you say it helps to make you more regular, it's not making you constipated. It's not making you have diarrhea. It's kind of just right in the middle, which is obviously where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. And I'm trying to think if we have anything that's sort of like an Imodium like thing. And I can't think of anything.
Interestingly enough, when we had a doctor on recently and we said, what about these people that have diarrhea? And she goes, fiber. And I was like, that seems counterintuitive. And she's like, no, believe it or not, it'll help. Like just the pure, I think, sort of regulation of it, which is interesting. And
we don't get enough, right? So we don't get enough fiber.
Yeah, it regulates you instead of like pushing you first one side or the other, right? Which is what we want. We want that middle ground, right? We don't
exactly.
Absolutely. In terms of like digestive support, what are some other like things that you guys might have that might help like our audience, like a particular product name that you can suggest for them? And like, are there any personal favorites? Maybe someone that works at GNC that's like takes a GLP-1 and they've said, hey, this is kind of a good thing. Anything like that?
Rachel?
Well, I am also obsessed with probiotics. And I love a probiotic prebiotic blend because, and that's where another place where fiber is really helping too, right? Because a lot of fibers act as a prebiotic. So it's like nourishing the microbes that live in our gut, which is really cool. So it's like this whole symbiotic relationship happening. But our probiotics are awesome. And I love just like a 25 billion, which sounds like a lot, but that's, a normal amount in the probiotic world. 25 billion CFU probiotic just is sort of like to keep you regular, is a must have for me. And, within our brands. And then I mentioned earlier, Supergut. I do love those stick packs. They're just so easy to take, grab and go.
And it's called Supergut?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I like that. Cool. Go ahead.
Okay, and speaking of many of the women in our audience, we're navigating perimenopause. That's
or menopause.
Or menopause. Does GNC carry any specific lines that kind of can help support that as well?
Yeah, so I think this is another area that has been really cool to see. There's so much interest in perimenopause, and I'm so glad because I'm 41, so I'm like this is my time. There's finally people talking about it and telling me what I have to do.
Oh yeah, nobody was talking about it until just recently.
Yeah, kind of uncomfortable about talking about it too. Sometimes it's still kind of like whoa, but
yeah. I mean, I was just at Expo West. It's this humongous natural health products show in California. There were so many awesome perimenopause and women's brands there. So I was really excited about that. In terms of like brands, I wouldn't say we have a brand that's focusing on that, but we have products that really can help across the spectrum of symptoms for perimenopause. And I think, again, it's very similar to the GLP-1 conversation where everyone's going to experience it differently, And so if you're having problems with sleep, which I know is something that has been a huge issue for me, I sort of have like a rotating mix of things that I take to help me with sleep. So I am a melatonin lover, but like Michael was saying earlier, I'm not necessarily like, I don't want to take it every single day. So I kind of alternate that with a magnesium glycinate supplement that we carry from Cottage. That's just like nice, easy to add to like my water before I go to bed. And then we have another product that has a little bit of melatonin and some valerian, like Michael was mentioning earlier too. So I rotate those for sleep. We've got a lot of great products like black cohosh and soy isoflavones in our GNC women's brand that, again, I like the idea too of being able to like, try like a single ingredient, simple product to see how that affects you and how that helps you when you take a real complex product, it can be difficult to tell what ingredients were actually benefiting me. You're not quite sure. So within GNC Women's, we've got a lot of great sort of like single ingredient formulations there that you can experiment with to see how that helps with like hot flashes. We've also got a lot of really great products for libido support that, I feel like the men's libido support supplements have been out there forever. Finally, within the women's space, this is something that's coming into the market. So we've brought in several new libido support products too. So we really have everything from sexual health to sleep to energy to just your any skin issues, irritability, mood swings, like all of the things come along with that.
We've heard a lot about brain fog. People have been saying like just when they hit perimenopause. Is there anything that like that GNC offers around that?
Oh man. We have tons of awesome cognitive health products. We've got, Michael, help me out if you have any that pop to mind, but in our preventive nutrition line, we have some really great products. Some of our VitaPacks, we're going to be adding a new ingredient to some of our VitaPacks for cognitive support.
Great.
There's a lot of really great innovation.
Yeah. And we even have some energy drinks like that has in it.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you get a little bit of both. You get your cognizant nootropic along with your caffeine energy. I don't know about you. I mean, yes, energy is important for me at the beginning of the day, but also kind of focus a little bit is also really good.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. But yeah, and then we have other ones that are, for a lot of them are for, memory or aging for more cognizant support. And if you'll find them in we call them nootropics, which are really about brain health.
Cool. Nootropics, cool. I love that. Well, this has been a lovely conversation.
It has been. So thank you guys for bringing us on.
Absolutely.
Like we appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Love the conversation, right? Because I love the fact of how we're able to talk about, as I said, we put this out there because we know we can help people.
Yeah.
The team at GNC really, really gets jazzed about helping people live well.
Yeah.
And, the focus has been, and I think you go back to the 90s when I first started shopping there. Yes, it was definitely this focus, a lot of weightlifting, a lot of things that weren't available in other places.
Right.
But as I said, GNC started started with yogurt and kind of probiotics back in 1935, has always been a leading edge of science. and trying to figure out what the right things are for people as things change, led by Rachel and her wonderful team here. And, we'll continue to do that. So as things come up and you have questions, love to see you either pick us online or go to the store. And, if you don't buy, just come and ask. We'd love to help you think through what you might need.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'll do, if it's okay, I think our audience would love to have links to some of these products, where maybe they could either get them online or read more about them or go into the store and talk with someone. And I'll include that in our show notes as well. But I hope that this has been great for you community. We always try to bring you more resources and things that we've tried to vet the best way that we can. So, but also I have to ask, because everybody keeps telling me, please subscribe here and consider becoming a paid member to continue so that we can continue our innovation and all the things that we're trying to do here to help you. And definitely go and follow GNC and look at all the things you've got.
We'd love to come back if you want us sometime.
Absolutely. We'd love that.
Oh, always.
Okay. All right.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone, we'll see you next week. And hasta la pasta. Talk to you soon.
Let me tell you a quick story. I was telling Kat how I was regaining weight after my 100-pound loss using GLP-1 medications. And I was having snacky cravings and waking up at 3 a.m. and I had hot flashes and I was worried. But Kat was like, listen, I went through this last year. It's perimenopause and I started HRT and she used this company called Winona. So I started going there to see if this was something that was going with me. Turns out it was, because I'm 46. And it's been amazing. It's taken a while to find the right dose, but once I did, it's just been huge. I've been sleeping. I feel more myself again. And the hot flashes are gone, which is, really bad. So I will tell you, it's just been so big for me. And so I wanted to partner with them on the podcast because obviously many of our listeners are going through the same age range and definitely are having these issues. And there's just no need for you to suffer. So if you go to the link that's in our link tree, you can click on that and save money. If you go there and you meet all the criteria, and this might be something for you to try. So I just want to make sure you had this great resource because it's just been such a big difference for me and Kat. Again, you can go to the link in our link tree and get what you need. Today's episode is brought to you by Ro, a telehealth platform that's changing the game of GLP-1 access. What sets Ro apart? Ro understands the challenges of navigating insurance hurdles and the skyrocketing prices of GLP-1 medications. That's why they specialize in getting insurance approvals for GLP-1s. And if insurance is a barrier, they go a step further by prescribing brand name zepbound vials for prices close to those of compound GLP-1s. With Ro, you're not just getting a prescription, you're getting a partner in your journey that's helping you access affordable treatment and guiding you every step of the way. Whether it's insurance approvals or cost-effective alternatives, Ro is here to make sure that you get the medication you need. Visit ro.co/plussides with a Z today to see how they can help you take control of your weight management journey with affordable, accessible care. That's ro.co/plussides with a Z, making healthcare work for you. Check out the link in our show notes for more details. Are you interested in understanding GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Then join us on the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, the groundbreaking podcast helping people change their lives one episode at a time. The Plus Sides podcast is a disruptor. We're breaking down barriers, smashing stereotypes, and sharing inspiring stories that'll leave you feeling informed and empowered. Join us every week to learn from doctors who are specialists around GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They'll provide you with science and facts to validate these incredible stories. But that's not all. We'll also bring you the voices of the GLP-1 Mounjaro TikTok community, real people who face the challenges of obesity-related diseases and disorders and discovered the incredible plus sides of GLP-1 medications. Our episodes are filled with heartwarming stories, laughter, and moments of triumph. You'll connect with our amazing community members who are reclaiming their health and experiencing their fullest lives. Are you ready to embark on a journey of discovery and empowerment? Tune in to the Plus Sides, Cracking the Obesity Code, and together we'll change the narrative around obesity and end the stigma. Subscribe now on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform and join our incredible community. Let's celebrate the plus sides of life together because every story deserves to be heard. Every life deserves to shine, and everyone deserves access to expert knowledge and medication. The Plus Sides Podcast. You're not alone. It's not your fault.